Have you ever been told that that shiny new idea is something you should never follow? You should finish what you've already started? I've heard that too, and today I'm going to talk about that in the concept of what became the new serial that's coming out in May. I'm going to talk about that now. I know I promised to talk about book one and how the idea whole started for the Modrigai Chronicles, but this new serial is coming up, so I thought I would talk about that first. Shiny new ideas. Who doesn't love them? Hi, my name's Leanne Schaller. I am an artist and a writer, and today I am talking about shiny new ideas and whether or not you should follow them. I know in my last video I said I would not be giving out any writing tips, and this is not a writing tip. This is just a methodology to figure out if following the shiny new idea is right for you or not. Spoiler, I ended up following my new shiny idea. And why was this an issue? Because at the time I was in the middle of writing book 3 and I had to finish that, and I had book 4 to come, and shiny new ideas, there was no place for them in my schedule or in indeed the reader's schedule. And yet that's exactly what happened. So let me take you through the journey of what happened. So it began in October. I can daydream a story and not have to write it, right? Right? What is it about a story that you decide just to enjoy so you can ignore all the plot holes, but yet keeps coming up with intriguing questions? It's like it wants me to write it. And I have a plot. Oh boy. And then I committed to writing it. First few lines of a new story written. It says on the front cover here that it's Ida Thea's journal, which is from my main serial, but this will end up being a novelette. It's closer to novel-ish. I think it's almost 50,000 words. Don't quote me on that. I am writing a new story that I'm pretty sure is a zombie because it is eating up all my brains. Thank goodness book 2 is all written so I don't have to worry about it. Book 3 is in trouble though. I need to get this story out of my system so I can get back to that one. But this new idea needs to stop sending me new scenes to write. My shiny new idea just hung on for grim death and stuck with me from like October until I finally finished the piece in February. That's a long time to be writing something that's supposed to be a short serial. And so I thought I would go through the things that will help you decide whether or not to give in to that shiny new idea. So if your goal is publication, traditional or otherwise, and you've not yet finished a novel, finish it. And that shiny new idea, you can have a little look at it, but then tuck it away as a reward for when your novel is finished. I know this is probably really difficult if you're at the very beginning stages of writing a novel, and this idea might be a better one to go for, but then you need to weigh up the pros and cons, especially looking at yourself and as to whether or not this is something you do all the time. Like you've got 10 starts to novels because that shiny new idea keeps coming along. So how do you set it down? Elizabeth Gilbert in Big Magic talks about how she lets the muse know whether or not she plans to work on a particular shiny new idea. She will let it go and tell the muse, please give this story to somebody else. This one is really not for me. And I've done this. I have given up a story and then seen it pop up a couple of years later. Somebody else has written that story and probably did a much better job of it than I could have at the time. So you could do that. You could spend a little time with this shiny new idea and then, give it a little bit of love and then say, I have this novel to finish. We're going to come back to you when I'm done with the novel. What I ended up doing with my shiny new idea, because it kept impinging on writing that third book, was I'm like, right, I was so close to the ending of book 3. I'm like, I'm going to work for a month on book 3. A Sword for Wellington, then the shiny new idea for a month, and then I'm going to switch back. So that was the plan, and I stuck to that. In January, I worked all the way through Sword for Wellington, got that first draft done, and then in February, I started working on Obsidian and Flame, finishing it, because by this point, I'd already attempted to finish it twice before, and the characters were not happy with me. Honestly, characters. I started working on it again, and I finished it within the first week, and it was done this time. Thank goodness. You might consider working with it, for example, I know I need to do 1,500 words a day in order to get a first draft done in X amount of time. I've done my 1,500 words a day. I'm going to spend the rest of my time working on the shiny new idea. You could do it in tandem. It does make it a little tricky for me personally to be jumping between two different stories. I need some time to back out and then back into a story. So that wouldn't have worked for me necessarily. That's why I chose to do a month and then another month. So I had bigger chunks of time. If you're writing novels, you can't publish something that's not finished. So whether you're publishing traditionally or independent publishing or doing what I'm doing, which is serializing on Substack, you need to see it through so you can play with the idea. I mean, we writers are dreamers after all, but you may have to decide to put it down for a time or let it go completely, because it is always a case of knowing who you are as a writer and whether you will finish something or not finish something, whether you can buckle down and get a ton of writing done, whether your life allows the space for another writing project. In the last year, I have started a new serial that's something that I was publishing once a month, and I found that I could do that and write pretty much to schedule for the Modrogai Chronicles, the main serial. So I did learn that, it'll take me a couple of weeks to write for once a month. And then, then I've got the remainder of the month or so to work on the serial. There was going to be no room for three. 3 different serials at the same time, because that's just too many stories. So I knew that about myself. And that's also why I chose to go month on, month off, because my experience with the once a month serial, I knew it was like 2 weeks on that one and 2 weeks on the other. So I needed to have like a bigger chunk of time to focus on A Sword for Wellington and then to come back and focus on Obsidian and Flame. So I chose to follow the shiny idea, and to be honest, I am behind on my production on the main serial. I'm not even in the middle of editing it right now. I'm in the early chapters of actually making changes to the manuscript for A Sword for Wellington, Book 3, and Obsidian and Flame is ready to go. I just need to write some previously ons for the serial, and then I can start scheduling it once Book 2, which is currently being serialized, finishes. So Obsidian Flame is done, it's coming out, and that is why I want to talk about the shiny book ideas, so I can talk to you a little bit about Obsidian and Flame. I know, sneaky, huh? And so even though it's upset my progress with writing, I have to say I'm not that upset about it. Even though, writing a serial week to week is a contract that you keep with your readers, I have kept that up. And Book 3 will happen maybe just a little bit later than I planned, but I have Obsidian and Flame to fill in the gaps. So it's coming in 3 parts of about 6 chapters each. The third part has 8 chapters. So 6 and 6 plus 8, do that math, 20. Oh my God, it's 20 chapters long now. And it's going to come out weekly initially, and then once Book 3 is ready to start rolling on Saturdays, then it will switch to Wednesdays. So I'll have 2 serials running basically at the same time. I also don't regret it, because I love these 2 characters that make up Obsidian and Flame, Panawa and Arden, and they have just been a revelation. I've just been editing the video that you're watching right now, and I realized that I didn't explain, if you're new here, what the actual conceit of the Modrogai Chronicles is, and that is, I found a trunk full of journals up in my attic. I will show you the link to the video of where I talk about that, so you can go check that out. But that is what happened. So basically, all these stories are not written by me. I mean, they are, but they're not, because we're behind the curtain right now. I can tell you that they are written by me and not Ida Thea or Leah or Jasper, which are the 3 main viewpoints at the minute, and Rhiannon. But I had this conceit of saying, well, I found these journals and here they are, and I've just edited them together and put them out in this online format that is free for you to read. I think that's all I needed to say, so let me go back to Past Me video. So here's my little trailer that I put together for Obsidian and Flame. I am releasing it separately as well, but here you can see the story as it's going to be about 2 sea dragons living in a palace in Kaer Morgana. Immerse yourself in a new serial set in the Modrogai universe. Coming May 24, 2025, Obsidian and Flame, Hanawa, a sea dragon prince with a deadly secret. Arden possesses a useless gift and has no desire to marry a prince. When they come together, sparks fly. Both grow aware that more than the throne is at stake. Can Panawa and Arden save their home, or will their quest be in vain? A new limited serial, Obsidian and Flame by Leanne Shawler, a romantic fantasy, exclusively on Substack and free at projectstarfish.substack.com. Obsidian and Flame will start on May 24th. At 7 a.m. the first chapter will drop, and that is on Saturdays, and that's all in Australian time, so it'll be probably Friday afternoon, evening if you're in the States, and in the middle of the night, I think, if you're in the UK. They're very special, and I'm very excited now to be able to share that with you, like ahead of schedule and in between books 2 and 3. And so yes, so that shiny new idea, sometimes it really is worth following. So thank you for watching this little video. I will actually get back on schedule next week, and we will talk about book 1, how the idea happened, and then talk a bit about how book 2 had to happen. It was not a planned book. It was an unplanned book, almost like an unplanned pregnancy. It was an unplanned book. And then a bit about book 3, and by that time book 3 should be ready and ready to go out the door, so you'll be very interested in catching up with everything that's happened in book 1 and book 2 and reading that for yourself over on the Substack, which is projectstarfish.substack.com. That link will be in the description below. Feel free to subscribe there. It's just an email and it's free. All my stuff is free to read. I make it the best I possibly can. There are revisions, etc. Occasionally a typo will get through, but on the whole, it's the best I can make it. It's been edited, revised, made pretty, and so I hope you will head over there to subscribe with just your email, and you can read it on your laptop, your computer, or on your phone. There is an app called for the Substack platform, which makes it easy to read. And I'll talk a little bit more next week about how easy it is to read, but basically you just hit the next chapter button and you're there. Once you get started, it's quite easy. So yes, and also here on AuthorTube, please do subscribe to this channel and like this if you liked this video. And if you have any questions about shiny new ideas, like should I follow this shiny new idea that I've got, we can chat about it in the comments and maybe help you discern which way to go. I do hope that my examples of when to follow and when not to follow, and when to follow when you probably shouldn't be following, has all been helpful to you. And so until next time, which will be book 1, and it's looking like it's going to come out next week, I'll see you then. Be well, good writing, good reading, and take care. Bye. You know what I said about shiny new ideas? I got another one. This one is not as quite as demanding as Obsidian and Flame was. It's kind of a percolating in the background new idea. I need to do a whole bunch of research for it. But this shiny new idea came about while I was in South Korea and not writing, so maybe that's why it was tickled. But I was in the city of Gyeongju, which is the ancient capital of the Shilla Kingdom in South Korea. The whole place just set those creative bones a-jiggling, and then I gave in. As you may or may not know, the Mordregai Chronicles started as a reason to purchase some journaling supplies, and I'll be talking about that more in next week's video. But I've also shared here on the channel already how I put those journals together, so it's in Korean. I bought things. You want to see? Okay. So here we have, now remember this is reversed, the book bound in the way that the old Korean books were bound in. I'm kind of hoping they were bound this way in the Shilla Kingdom era, and not just Joseon era and all and on. There's a place here to write the title. So this is the journal from the heroine's point of view. Or maybe it should be the heroes. I haven't actually written a male main character before, like, you know, besides being like the romantic interest. We're in the very early stages of this. And then because I handwrote my stuff first, instead of typing it in, I bought a special soul journal. This artist is amazing. It's l'après-midi, which means afternoon in French. I also picked up this little journal. It's an accordion book. This might actually become an art book, not part of the thing, but there you go. Another little notebook. This might be my research notebook holder. And then because I like to sort of like junk journal my journals, envelopes, which are wallpaper designs, so probably definitely not period, but Victorian. And then this was from, I forget which palace. I forget which palace, and I'm going to brutalize it anyway, but it's like the design of their roofs is the pattern in here to add as a dangle onto said journal. Is that everything? Oh, and a pouch to put the journal. No, it doesn't. To go with the journal. So there's a pouch as well, because I couldn't resist the pouch either. It was quite cute. And that can be my writing supplies for the pouch, or it's just a pouch. So it's at the very beginning ideas. I just signed up for a library card at my university I went to here in Australia, so I can get access to interlibrary loans there to do some reading instead of just going out and buying all the research books. I will end up buying the ones that are good, and it's kind of like using the library interloan system to see if they are good or not. Said that backwards, didn't I? So that's a shiny new idea. I have a beginning, and that's it. I don't know where it's going. I have no plot. I have two main characters, but they're very, very sketchy. And it's not... Panoa and Arden were both very present, fully fleshed characters almost. And I am going to be doing a debrief after I'm done with serializing Obsidian and Flame, and we'll go into the origins of where the characters came from and that kind of thing, and how it went, which I've talked a little bit about already. I want to talk a little bit more about how they talked to me about changing the ending of the story because they weren't happy with it. And again, this other idea, I think it's going to be pretty much kept on the down low. Maybe I might video it, but I might not release anything until I know it's a sure thing that I'll be sharing over on my Substack, because I might fizzle and nothing comes of it, and then in which case I'll do a video where I talk about ideas that fizzle. But until I know the direction, I can't share that with you, really. That's my little postscript. I love to research, and research rabbit holes are one of my favorite things, so it's no surprise that I'm using this as an excuse to get into the stacks of books and libraries and that kind of thing. I've already said goodbye, so